And when it is deserted on one side, and sharing of this particular heart-to-heart conversation that we call it as with the one who is very close, that is totally opposite polarity of being deserted. And the idea for cactus is if I share heart to heart with somebody, then I am obliged to do something for them. And therefore my heart will be caged. My most important organ of my body, the heart, will be caged. Because what we say when we are with a close person, मैंने अपना दिल दिया ना, what have I given? I've given my heart to that person. So now look at from the perspective of being deserted. Will that person be able to give the heart to anybody? Is completely different understanding. And therefore heart as if in a vice. What does that mean? That vice is like caging yourself. तुमने अपने आप को एक जाली में बंद कर लिया. क्यों? क्योंकि तुमने उसके साथ नाता जोड़ा. Because you develop that relation with that person, I have now caged myself. And therefore, if you see the cactus people, they are very dry as far as pleasure things are concerned. So much so that even in the female condition, there is vaginismus. And therefore, the idea that you get from that particular concept is the time when we really have intimate relationship with the partner. That itself is not possible. So where is it that I can have any relation with anybody else? And therefore I isolate myself. And that isolation itself is a type of restriction. And you see now humanly, we tend to actually give, whenever we are emotionally disturbed, we tend to talk to other person, the close person. This is what I am suffering, or this is what is the thing. And then that other person will advise us. But what is the problem there? We argue, we disagree to that person, yes or no? We don't immediately accept whatever that other person is giving an advice. But this doesn't happen with cactus person. Cactus are really good autobiography writers, where they put in their emotion and then the second mind says, no, this is not correct. I didn't want to say this is the emotion. They'll cancel it, again rewrite the whole thing. And that's how the rubric makes mistakes while writing. And if you see, even Rubiaceae has got the remedy, coffea cruda and all that thing. But what happens with coffea? It is, the thinking is so fast that before you write, the thought has gone ahead. Therefore you make a mistake. Overthinking and therefore mistake. Here, nobody to discuss with, therefore you are the discussion, you are the authoritative person, you are the person who is going to tell yes or no. Therefore the mistake. Another rubric, if you go to see, curses while praying and swearing. Curses and swears while praying. You'll see cactus remedy over there. Because whenever we are too disturbed, we go to the temple, we go to the religious places and talk to God. Na? Bhagwan kya hai? Or we argue with the person. But what does cactus do? He doesn't have anybody else to argue with. He's so isolated. And therefore when he goes to the temple, he fights with the God. Arey Bhagwan, kahan bhej diya mere ko? This is how the rubric of being cursing and swearing while praying. Nobody does that, right? We all ask for blessings when we are going to pray. But the cactus person, there also he fights on an emotional background with the Lord Almighty. Because he doesn't have any other person. So the whole understanding of cactus is to be very isolated, dry, deserted, least interested in pleasures of life. This is the type of this thing, and therefore their constipation. You see, everywhere, hardly any water that they can consume because of the constriction of the throat also. And what is the cactus in nature? Hardly any water they take. And what is water? Jal hi jeevan hai. So when they cannot take jal, what can they take life? Because water gives life. And something that gives life, that itself you do not want. So what can you take from life? No pleasures you can take. This is a sort of a background how the whole cactus people will look.